Integrating testing into iterations can be a challenge for Agile teams. When testers get handed work late in the iteration, it's hard for them to test everything as quickly as needed. This frustration at being overworked at the end of an iteration goes along with frustration early each iteration when testers don't yet have anything to test. By the way, my name is Mike Cohn, and I'm the author of 3 best-selling books on Agile and Scrum. I also offer a range of training materials, free tutorials, and tools to help teams succeed with Agile. You can find these at mountaingoatsoftware.com. Right now, though, let's take a look at what you can start doing today to help testers have the time needed to test everything within the iteration in which it's coded. The key is to reduce the size of handoff between programmers and testers. It's common for a programmer to grab an item from the product backlog, typically a user story, develop the new functionality, and then hand it over to a tester after the whole thing has been developed. This means the programmer might work on a backlog item for a few days or even a week or more. When the tester finally gets their hands on it, there's a lot to test. Instead of finishing an entire product backlog item and handing that over to a tester, programmers should hand over small parts of an item as each is finished. Think about a typical product backlog item and its acceptance criteria. Let's suppose it's a user story with 4 acceptance criteria. As the programmer writes the code to fulfill each acceptance criterion, that work should be handed over for testing. This allows the programmer and tester to work nearly concurrently. Here's how this would work for a simple user story about logging in. As a member, I'm required to log in so that my account is secure. Let's add acceptance criteria of the right credentials grant access, the wrong credentials deny access and display an error message, a user can request a password reminder, and a user is locked out after 3 failed attempts. Before any work begins, the programmer and tester talk and decide where to start. They decide to start with granting access when the right credentials are entered. While the programmer writes the code to support only this, the tester creates a test plan for just this small part of the full user story the programmer is coding. That doesn't take our tester much time in this case, so the tester creates test data while the programmer is still working on just the first part. Depending on how much automation is already in place, the tester may even be able to script automated tests that will run as soon as the code is available. As soon as both the programmer and tester are done, they check their work into the official build system and tests are run. They then talk about what to work on next. Let's say they choose the bit allowing users to request a password reminder, another of the story's acceptance criteria. Again, while the programmer codes support for just this, the tester creates test plans, test data, and automation scripts. There are still handoffs between the program and the tester, but instead of one big handoff of the entire product backlog item, the programmer is handing work to the tester one small subset of the full feature at a time. For this to work, the programming and testing tasks don't need to take the same amount of time. Coding could, for example, take twice as much time as getting tests ready to run. In that case, the same tester could be following a similar pattern with a second programmer, or doing any of a myriad of other testing tasks. Reducing the size and increasing the frequency of handoffs solves the problem of testers not having enough time to test. Near the end of an iteration, testers will have only the last small handoff from the programmers to test. If you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and hit the like button. It really does help YouTube know to show the video to others. And click the subscribe button if you'd like to be notified of future tips.